powers of Mahasadashiva.
Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Om Nithyananda
Anandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvadidam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya-adhilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavadidam Tribunaraitam Sadgurum Tam Namami.
Nithyanandam, everyone, we welcome all of you to another exciting episode on Nithyananda TV. I am Srinitya Brahmasukhananda Maharaj, and we have with us Srinitya Rajananda Maharaj co-hosting this event.
Nithyanandam.
Yes, Nithyananda Maharaj, welcome to the show. And today we are bringing yet another very exciting, very, you can say something, a topic which is very prevalent, which is very current and very significant, very important for all of us. At a global level, at a geopolitical level, it is affecting all of us in the world, not just a couple of countries, all of us, in fact. Even in the recent history, what we have gone through, the kinds of ups and downs we have gone through as a humanity, as a collective human civilization, this topic is directly hitting at the core of that. So the topic which we are bringing today for all of you is Kailasa and the world order.
Yes. Yes, Maharaj. Actually, this is addressing some of the latest information that many of us have been discussing, and that is all over the internet.
Yes.
Talking about actually what is going on in the world today, as far as what are people relying on, what kind of solutions, and from where those solutions and strategies are coming from. And it is coming from the understanding that those ancient civilizations that have, even explain, Maharaj, that you were telling that there are how many ancient civilizations?
49, in fact, 49 ancient civilizations were there, and out of all those 49, only one is remaining. All of the rest 48 have been destroyed, annihilated completely in the last at least 3,000, 4,000 years.
Okay.
Only one civilization that is left is the Hindu civilization. And in this context itself, we are presenting you the topic. This topic of discussion today is that of the world order. What is happening to the current world order? In fact, if we look at the present scenario, whatever is happening, as you were also mentioning, as recent happenings which are happening, even in the last year, if we look at the World Economic Forum, the summit, it was so many big dignitaries were attending. All of them attended the event and gave some very important statements about the current scenario, the overall geopolitical scenario in the world, the economic scenario, what is happening. And we had some very important revelations, very important statements coming from very important people, right?
Yes.
For example, Henry Kissinger, he made a statement that the world order is going to be completely, permanently restructured. Was that the statement, Maharaj?
Yes, especially after the COVID pandemic. That is what you mentioned, yes.
So that was one of the very, very significant statements. It is not coming from a normal man, because all these people, statesmen, whatever they say has a value, right? Even George Soros, he also attended this event and he made this comment. It was a public comment he made that the entire Western civilization is facing a crisis, right? It's basically facing an existential crisis. So what does it really mean? What does it mean for the world order? What has been happening, what we are currently facing and observing is a kind of a big journey that is happening at the international level, at the global level. The whole power structure of the world is in fact changing, right? The countries who have been in power, who have been the leaders and have taken the responsibility to lead the entire world, the modern world, they are facing challenges from other economies, other countries who were till now the followers. And this new power game that is emerging in the world, the international stage is setting new trends. It's creating new groups, new divides, new friendships across entire, the whole international group of countries, at least the powerful countries. And in this context, what is Kailasa's role? What is the significance? And how does Kailasa fit into this new paradigm that is emerging at the international level? And you can even add it to this, Maharaj, exactly going into the details. What is really happening in what is really happening to the world order to begin with, and how the civilizational narrative is coming into it?
Correct. So it is at this civilizational level that many of the important countries in the world are looking at who they are, looking at themselves and finding the solutions in their own history, in their own civilization. They're looking back and seeing where it is that they have literally repeated the history that they had, how the history is repeating itself, and how the whole civilization's age contributes to being able to just plan for the long term, plan so that things are not always planned on a short term basis. And only if you recognize that, only if you recognize that our history is ancient, our history has gone back thousands of years, then you can even have a conversation about planning for a long term. And that this is the civilizational conversation that is going on. And every country has this opportunity to right now, especially when these conversations are happening, to plan their strategic national narrative. What are they going to tell them about who they are to themselves? What are they going to tell all their people who they are about themselves? Are they going to say that we are a history of enlightened people? That is what we are as far as Kailasa is concerned. Or are we going to say, are we a history of barbarians? Or are we going to say, are we a history of economic or businessmen? What is it, the story that we are going to tell ourselves that is true about ourselves? And this is something that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has addressed in the presidential address on the recent Tamil New Year. He said that when he was asked, where is Kailasa? How do I go to Kailasa? These are some of the common questions we get. And when he said this, he said that he's emphasizing right now on building the Hindu history first. He says that if you build the history, even if the geography is taken away, even if your physical land is taken away, if you have built your history, then from that you can build the geography again. And he's saying it is this, actually, if you see, it is this national strategic narrative that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is telling. And he said that Kailasa is the grand narrative of Hinduism itself. And I can say that just his way of forward thinking and just thinking at the level of all the statesmen in the world, and thinking at the level of how we as Hindus define ourselves and how we as Hindus define our history is very important. And it has been a part of our conversations again and again, especially when it comes to finding the real truth in our own history.
It's so interesting, Maharaj, because we have seen even recently the tides are now changing, right? People are more and more questioning about their identity, their history. For long, we have seen the people not really, taking it too seriously. In fact, many movements have emerged in the world which have actively, consciously tried to destroy their history, right? Communism, whatever happened in Soviet Union, whatever happened in China in the 1960s and 70s, the whole destruction, annihilation of their own culture, of their own history, consciously doing it with the aim, with the ambition that we are all that the history is, whatever our history has taught us, whatever we have done is completely barbaric. It is whatever it's actually inferior, and we have to get rid of it and create a new history. But now what has happened?
Yes.
For the last at least 10 years, a decade, or at least 10 to 15 years, we have seen the whole paradigm is now shifting back to reclaiming your ancient identity,
Yes.
who you really have been for many, many years. More interestingly, a country like China is again addressing itself as the ancient 5,000-year-old civilization.
Yes, yes, yes.
Can you imagine? 1960s, the same cultural revolution that happened in China, destroyed their everything, all the monuments, everything that they had from as a part of their whole tradition of their ancient culture. Now that again what they're addressing is they're questioning who we are really. We have a history. We are an ancient civilization, 5,000-year-old civilization, which has a utility for even our future generations. It can guide us in the future. Right?
Actually, the leaders made these statements so that they could give inspiration to the new generation, to give them inspiration to look forward to a future where they can be proud of their base, of their culture, their heritage, and from that same pride, they can create more. They can innovate more. They can have more communal harmony. All these are possibilities when you look at yourself as an ancient history.
And also, I would add, there is also a vacuum now that has been created, because recently the kind of model which we have been following at a global level, the economic model, the social model, even experimenting with various socio-political ideologies, right? The communism, Marxism, whatever we have, even the modern capitalism, all of them are failing one by one. Communism has already failed. Hardly 50 years Marxism survived on the planet. And it's now a failed ideology. The whole everyone really knows that practically Marxism has failed. Even capitalism, see the history of the humanity from medieval ages. If you just encompass it in a short basis, in a very precise way, we can say that the shelf life of whatever ideologies that are being experimented with in the modern era, the shelf life is decreasing continuously. First came the colonial model, which they were following, right? It hardly lasted 200 years. Then came mercantile capitalism, hardly 100 years it lasted, right? Then it was replaced by Marxism, this ideology that this is better than whatever we have been following, right? It only lasted 50 years. Now the modern capitalistic model, the globalization that we call it, hardly 25 years and the whole collapse is happening again. So we see the insistence of the West or the modern civilization, so to speak, on more and more short-term gains, right? And the shelf life itself of the model decreasing from 200 to 100 to 50 to even 25. Now the countries which have been following these models, they are not really left with any more choices. So what do they do in that vacuum? They simply ask this question: can we lean back to our own identity, who we have been actually, but we have forgotten that or traded that for something else which is more short-term and which is also not working?
Yes,
that is emerged into this more the new shift in the whole global situation, where more and more countries are going back to their ancient roots. Even we see the indigenous cultures, indigenous nations, when they sit in the United Nations, they sit with their whole ancient dress, all their attire, this entire thing we see, which we were not seeing in the past 20 years, 30 years, right? So this whole shift is happening, where each and every country, each and every group, each and every community is going back to questioning their roots, realigning to their identity, and building a narrative out of that about themselves, to even tell to their own selves, to their own kids, and also to others.
Yes.
Right. So this is what is really happening at the global level right now, with countries, even China, and all the countries really.
Yes.
Even the indigenous cultures. So you want to add something to that?
Well, we have to tell the Hindu narrative.
Exactly.
We have just discussed how the whole world has been changing, and how many of those systems of ruling the world has completely not been very useful nowadays. But it is the Hindus who are in the background, taking care of their narrative, doing the things the way they know. And actually now they are raising up. Actually, there's so many facts that we need to tell about the Hindu nations that existed, even though it has reduced, as you said, to only one or two civilizations.
Yes.
Since the last 2000 years at least, the countries, the Hindu nations have held about 30% of the world's GDP. And there are so many statistics to tell how Hindus have made it to being able to be literally the elite, to the top of the world, literally spearheading lots of the major decisions at the global level, and being able to do it in the most modern way also, taking all the modern technology, having all that as their knowledge base, and coming from that ancient grand narrative of Hinduism, and then really making a difference in the world. It is said that it is 3.6 of the CEOs of the Fortune 500 list are of Hindu origin. And they all, as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism said, that AI will be taking over all the mundane jobs. And you can clearly see that if a lot of the original ideas of information technology that is there in Hinduism, and we can see that Hindus are really spearheading all of the technological developments in the world. We can see that we have, as Hindus, positioned ourselves already at the top. We are already at the top of everything, whether it is in a geopolitical situation, whether it is in a technological advancement situation, in many of the fields, even in just our ability to have a stable family unit with the least amount of divorce rates among any other ethnicity. These are all the actual results of our narrative. It is time now to see how the Supreme Pontiff is telling us to look at our own grand narrative and seeing how it has actually positioned us in a position of leadership, help the world move into the future and give positive conscious breakthrough to everyone. And we always have our base as the Hindu Shastras and the Hindu scriptures. And this is what the discussion is that is going on in Kailasa, talking about how Hindus are already at the head of the world and how we can take the responsibility for moving the world forward in a position of a responsibilism.
Yes. In fact, as you said rightly, because Hindus are already at the top, they are the most contributing people, most happiest among all the people, among all the ethnic communities. Even if you look at the data from the US, right, the richest people, the richest ethnic community is Hindus. I think the statistics themselves show that $120,000 income a year, the highest among all the ethnic communities from all the nations. Hindus are at the top, right? The least amount of poverty is among the Hindus in the US population. I think 30% or 33% is the average population in the US that is under poverty. For Hindus, it's hardly 6%.
And the least amount of crime rate also.
Least crime rate, least one. The prison population, Hindus constitute 1/10 of the prison population as compared to all other communities. 1/10, right? And they are the most educated. Among all the communities, Hindus are the most educated. 80 to 85% of Hindus carry at least an undergraduate degree. Right, that is also, and even among them, most of the Hindus are following, they are pursuing these STEM fields for majoring, right? Computer science, engineering, management, business, basically the fields which are involved in building stuff, right? Building the infrastructure, technology, and contributing, these kinds of things which Hindus are actually involved in, and all this comes because of those values which are ingrained in our DNA. But only thing is, many Hindus are still not really aware of where
that was what my question is. What is it that makes us so blind to these truths? To the blindness of our own, we can use the word magnificence. How we've made it to the top, and how come we're completely blind that we're not able to see that we're really almost running the world, but we're not able to see that. What is it that, because, and the truth that the Supreme Pontiff is revealing again and again to us is that we took it for granted. We took our own history for granted. It is that the way that it is that many of the history that is wrongly told, the false narratives about Hinduism is that Hinduism had a dark age, and that we had some a civilization that was lesser than what it is now. Something like this kind of a story that is not even a part of our Puranas or Itihasa, nothing like that. It is in our Itihasa that we had a higher conscious civilization before Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga. These are more conscious, more intelligent beings that exist. That is our history. But somehow we have been imposed on this idea that we had some kind of dark ages and we had some kind of, we came from lower beings. But that's not true. It is a part of our grand narrative to understand and cognize ourselves as descendants of Rama, as descendants of Krishna, as descendants of these enlightened geniuses, literally.
Yes, exactly. Because that is exactly the problem, right? When other cultures and other communities are not really facing too much friction in realigning, whenever they are questioning now, right? The paradigm is changing. That's what we started with. All these communities, all these nations, all powerful nations, they're not having too much problem with the people going back and leaning back to their past and re-identifying themselves.
Yes.
But we observe this friction, this resistance among the Hindus, especially when we tell them, this is your real history, this is your real story. We still unfortunately face a lot of friction among the Hindu population, the global Hindu population, of accepting, of celebrating this, their true Hindu identity. And that's what we want to address. Why is this? What has to be done to make Hindus realign to their true history, make them believe that that is exactly who they are and who they were? It's the entire false narrative. Because we lost control over our own narrative.
Yes.
We just took, or we can even say, a completely false narrative, an hateful narrative about Hinduism was forced down into the Hindu children.
Unfortunately, because of this, we take all of Hindu scriptures, all of the higher intelligence of Hinduism for granted.
You actually hate it.
Yes, we won't even consider it as something that is valuable to our lives and that has given us so much of positive contribution in our own lives and to the way we show ourselves to the world. We will take it for granted, and that is why we need Kailasa. We need the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's direct involvement, as he is the 1008 incarnation of Paramashiva. He is Paramashiva today manifested in our lives to take us to, because as Hindus, if we have taken the whole tradition for granted, we don't find it as having a utility value in our lives. But the Supreme Pontiff is coming out and sharing with us continuously in his Nitya Satsangs, in the Mahaparamashivam programs, and continuously addressing the world, telling that Hinduism has the most practical utility value solutions for anything and everything for the modern day man. And this is what is given as an experiential understanding in the Mahaparamashivam program. This is how we can, as Hindus today, remember who we are from an experiential understanding.
Yes, it has to be done from experiential level itself. That is what, because the history of Hindus is so grand.
Yes.
You have to experience it to really believe it.
Yes.
Otherwise, when you talk about Pushpaka Vimana to modern man, the normal understanding is that all this is just fiction, all this is just myth. But when you actually manifest powers yourself, when you move matter yourself with your consciousness, hey, it just clicks with you. If this is possible, that is also possible.
And even tapping into the powers of the intuitive mind, the whole yoga. The whole yoga is just understood as just asana, but the whole scripture is talking about 8 other components of yoga that contribute to a person's consciousness, that that empower that person to be functional extremely well, not physically, but ability to use their mind. And as far as yoga, brahmacharya, pratyahara, dharana, all these are techniques that are there in our tradition, in our scriptures, to be able to help us focus and become high achievers in the world today. And that is actually because we have done that for thousands of years. We just have the blood and the DNA that just does it naturally. We don't, as Hindus, have tendencies in our blood to be violent, to be aggressive, to be against another world. We always come together. We're just hardwired differently.
And it's also not some fantasy stories we are telling. All of this is documented. All of this is fact now. There is statistics which prove. This Professor R.J. Raman in Hawaii University, he did a research. He collected all the documented data which is existing on the planet Earth about all the civilizations, entire humanity. What all violence happened, right? In the name of power, in the name of control. How many people were killed? The whole data he has collected, right? Out of that, he says, Hindu civilization is the civilization where no violence has happened, no mass killings have happened. Till 13th century, no mass killings in the Hindu civilization. Can we believe it? Entire world has, engrossed in wars and conflict for the last 2,000 to 3,000 years. Every year, we have been fighting wars, we've been killing each other. Hindu civilization till 13th century, and I'll come to why 13th century. Till 13th century, there was no mass killing reported. So many historians have come to India. In fact, India was the only country where they came. That was the cradle of the civilization, Hindu civilization, right? So all the historians, all the scholars, they would visit India and learn and go enrich themselves. None of them reported mass killings. All of them would only report the positives, right? What happened in 13th century is when invasions started, when colonialism started. It is because of the atrocities of the Hindu haters, the Hindu Misia forces, which attacked the Hindu civilization, tried to destroy it. It was all the violence that was reported was because of them, not because of Hindus. There was no violence recorded. All of this is statistic. All of this is data, right? Any statistic you put, how much education Hindus have, even the stable family system. It is not just trying to glorify something which is Hindu or something. No, it has practical value. It has economic value. In the West, all families are collapsing. There's divorce rate, 55% divorce rate for first marriage, right? If you go for the second marriage, there's 67%. It's not like divorce rate will decrease because you've married again. No, it increases. And if you marry the third time, it's 70-something%, right? Whole family system is collapsing. People are hardly 20% or something of people are living in a proper wedlock with husband, wife, and kids. What will happen to the kids? It's all single parents and this households. All the burdens is being taken by the government. When we see all these things happening at practical level, economic level, we see the difference. And this difference is not civilizational, cultural, social. No, it is civilizational values, the core identity, the core cognitions, your history. Everything is playing a role in this. That's where the whole narrative, the Hindu narrative, the importance of having a proper Hindu narrative, the real Hindu narrative, like the real Hindu history, teaching and learning who we are as Hindus, and teaching it to our kids, to our next generation, so that they first know the grandeur of their ancestors, what kind of a grand civilization they are inheriting, and what its contribution value is, enriching value is. That is the Hindu narrative, which we now in the current evolving paradigm, where everyone else is anyway talking about their civilization, about their identity. It is the golden opportunity for us Hindus to present ourselves and contribute to the world with that proper, powerful narrative. And we have to delve into this deeply, how it has to be done, because so much of incompletions Hindus have with their own history, with their own identity, with their individual identity also, right?
And that is where the experiential understanding has come, because it has to happen at a personal level. See, in Kailasa, in the Paramashiva program, we offer the tools for individuals to look into themselves. Literally, the knowledge that is there in Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge that is there in Sankhya, the science of self-introspection, looking into oneself and empowering oneself with the truths of Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, listening to oneself and contemplating how to manifest the powerful cognitions of the cosmos and just radiating enlightenment. This is the way that the Hinduism, through Sankhya, teaches how, and this is an inbuilt part of how we tend to all the people who join the Paramashiva program. It is when we examine our personal histories, our own personal patterns, and understand and literally rewrite and recognize what happened to us personally in our lives, and re-look at why we look at ourselves the way we do. Whether it is in a powerless way, whether it is in a way that is downgrading, that is going to make us inefficient, for ourselves and for the people around us.
Yes.
And these are the fundamental things. See, why we have fundamental questions people will be having. Why is it that I'm not able to focus? Why is it I'm not able to relax and I'm not able to achieve success in my life? These are the personal questions that we and the Mahaparameshwaram program give people the opportunity to just have these questions, and let's bring out and have a conversation about them. See, our past will always reproduce itself into the future. This is the base truth of the completion process. We have to look into our past and do the reliving of the past leads to relieving of its impressions on our present moment. It is the truth that whatever we have something called as a default future. Means that whatever we always see, if we see our histories and our patterns, why is it even called a pattern? It is because it repeats. It repeats over and over and over again, and we're just replicating our past mistakes again and again in the present and creating a future that is by default.
Yes.
The same happening again. And how do you break this continuous chain of repeating the whole thing? Is
so like an unconscious loop we are
correct.
Stuck into, right?
Yes, yes.
Same thing repeating again and again.
The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shares that the ideas you carry about your past, your old failures, every idea that we carry about our old failures, every idea we carry about our past is wrong. That we even have failures, that we even have had, we are a failure. And coming to these outlandish conclusions about ourselves, that we are a failure. And all these wrong understandings is the Supreme Pontiff is sharing with us the ultimate truth that this is a wrong cognition at the base, because Hinduism as a science teaches us we are God, that we are all powerful. If we are having these kind of cognitions that we have failed and we are failures, it is going to harm any future that we want to create for ourselves. So at this base level, we give people the opportunity in the Mahaparameshwaram program to really look at just the words you're telling yourself. That is where it all starts, right?
Yes.
We talk about integrity. We talk about the words you tell yourself and the words you tell others, and literally going down and breaking our whole understanding ourselves thought by thought and seeing how there is just an undercurrent of a root pattern of just life negativity. And beautifully, it is in that program, under the guidance and the healing presence of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, that all these pains, all this suffering that we have just continuously, unnecessarily put ourselves into is just healed.
Yes.
And
yeah,
he says that the guilt that we carry, the guilt is the sure killer of intelligence, and it is literally the original sin. And guilt is nothing but measuring the actions that we have that we have done in the past with the updated intelligence of the present moment.
Yeah.
So these are all the truths that we are come to have the opportunity to see ourselves go through. And this process is beautifully done as a completion process in a traditional setting called the Samskara Dahana Kriya. And in that process, we have the opportunity to look into our past and manifest a new future for ourselves. And that empowerment is what we call Ishwaratva. Literally having that grounding in the past, that strength from our own past, that I am someone, I am consciousness, and consciousness has given me so much. See, the beautiful way that our programs are designed is we have a process of just helping someone come to the space of bhakti, space of gratitude to oneself, gratitude to the parents, gratitude to the guru in your life. And this really does so much of healing on its own. So many of these powerful cognitions are what are discussed in the program. And we have opportunity to really, really look at ourselves in a new light, in a new way. And in this way, we mold our the way we look at ourselves as a past. And then in that way, we have the power to have Ishwaratva, the leadership, to be able to have a positive contributing future for ourselves.
I think this is so powerful, Maharaj. When at an individual level, when we actually go through this completion process, we see the benefits. We look back into our history, all our pains, all our patterns, all our unconscious repetition that is happening, the way we are creating an unconscious future, a default reality. What we want to manifest is not manifesting. Whatever has been happening, unconsciously or consciously is repeating again and again. How we break from this cycle and reclaim our power, right? Reclaim our true identity. When we see that happening in our own life experientially, then first we get the confidence to even contribute and understand what is happening at the collective level, right?
Yes.
Second, we even get the intelligence, because microcosm and macrocosm, it's just a reflection of one another, right? If I understand how my past has shaped my present and how my present is shaping my future, I can even get the intelligence and understand how in the collectively Hindus, what is their collective past, how their collective past has affected their present, and how their present, the decisions which the Hindus collectively are going to make are going to affect their future. So when this completion happens at an individual level, you can become an active, I would say a fire, literally, to trigger this completion process among all the Hindus.
Correct.
And then we can go to the entire humanity. But
Yes.
first of all, Hindus have to consciously, get back and integrate themselves to their true identity. It will start at an individual level, and from the individual level, it manifests as the collective completion and collective integrity. When you understand what your real past is, right now Hindus are having this low cognition about their own collective past, right? Just like individual past, there is a collective past, the collective history, which Hindus have been told by others who they were, which is entirely false. But the only way to simply break it without going through any analysis, this and that, no. Simply when the completion happens in you, when you start radiating that consciousness, the powerfulness, and the powers literally start manifesting from you, you simply break out of the whole gaslighting that has been done to you individually, right? And when that manifests, it multiplies. It will naturally multiply to more and more people. You will enrich more and more people, and collectively, this revival can happen for Hindus, and realigning, re-understanding their true history, the real history, from the Puranas, from the Itihasas, in fact, from billions and billions of aeons altogether, Hindu history has been there. Right? Hindu history is, in fact, the history of the cosmos itself.
Yes.
It is the history of the gods. It is not some this culture history or that culture history. Hindu history is the history of the world.
Yes.
Right? So, understanding that and recognizing that in a highest possible manner, the true identity, re-invoking it in you will naturally manifest as the revival of the grand narrative of Hinduism. And that is exactly what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is doing, right? All these processes, sanskara and kriya, as you said, completing with our own root patterns, completing with our own past. How is this really possible? Simply by his initiation.
Correct.
The power of his initiation, because he is the incarnation himself of Paramashiva. Paramashiva himself is landed on planet Earth to do this job of reviving Sanatana Hindu Dharma, to teach Hindus their own grand narrative and tell it to the whole world.
And his space is such, actually, the way that it is, how it happens in the Mahaparameshiva program is that completion is a sacred process. We do the attending to ourselves and all,
Yes.
but ultimately it is just being in that powerful space of Upanishad at the feet of the Guru. Actually, it is that because that one concentrated super consciousness holds this one idea, the one truth that you are Paramashiva, holds that highest cognition for you and holds you literally to that one cognition, and you just go on again and again, redefine what you are for yourself, and finally understand that you are consciousness yourself and align to this cognition. When this happens, that initiation happens, and then you'll be able to actually manifest the powers that we are telling that everyone is able to do, and have conscious, super conscious breakthroughs in your life just because of his presence in our lives, just because he holds us to the highest truth that we are Paramashiva.
Yes.
And by holding that powerful space, no matter what we do, no matter what we come back with, no matter what we justify and say, no, I'm a sinner. No, I did this bad thing in my life. No, how much we come, but still holding us to the higher truth, no matter what it is that he says, what it is we come up with. He still holds us, and that is the power. That is the power he's able to have and show us.
He is Paramashiva himself. That's why he's telling us you. Only Paramashiva can tell you are Paramashiva. Anyone else is holding a low identity about themselves. So they can naturally never tell anyone else that they are Paramashiva. Right? So it is Paramashiva himself who has landed, who is initiating as in the form of his Paramavatara, the living manifestation, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashiva. Just his initiation itself is enough to bulldoze all your low self-image, all your incompletions, because that energy field, it creates that boiling, that churning inside. It just completes, it finishes off all your powerlessness, all your wrong thought currents, false histories, anything about what you think about yourself, everything, all false identities simply get dissolved into that true identity, the Hindu identity, right? Which is that you are Paramashiva, Paramadvaita, oneness with Paramashiva, oneness with the whole existence. That is exactly what the experience is given by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in the Mahaparamashiva program.
And it is at the central part of So the central spindle of the whole grand narrative of Hinduism is the Guru Sishya Parampara. That is literally the superconscious component that comes again and again, keeping the whole grand narrative alive. And that is the unique part of the whole thing. And actually, it is very important for Hindus today to recognize this. Hindus must recognize that it is only keeping the Guru Sishya Parampara alive that is going to help save us and really help us continue as we are doing, leading the world in all of its, in contributing to the world in all the fields. It is because it's not like there's many Hindus who say that it is the grandness of the Tanjore temples and all of these temples. It is because they are an architectural marvel. That is the way that we should be telling the narrative about Hinduism. It is not like that. Supreme Pontiff is very clearly telling us that it is because we are we have super consciousness. The whole manifestation of all of our temples is a power manifestation science.
Yes.
It is not just ability to be able to construct something from nothing. It is an ability to do that as a power manifestation. And that is why he keeps on telling us that Hinduism is the greater science centered on super consciousness. And you will preserve, you will revive it in the right way when you hold this very context, that Hinduism is the greater science and it is based on super consciousness and manifesting that in everyone. If we continue to just tell that everyone that it is just a grand marvel, it is a beautiful structure, we will not understand that we were capable of building such a thing and that we are still capable of building such a thing.
Yes.
That is the way that
and even updating that to the next level.
Yes, we can take that to the next level.
Because Hinduism is all about giving breakthroughs to yourself and to others, right? So grandness from the past, giving breakthrough to even that, was cognizing that we are that, we are capable of that, and then even going a step further and even enriching whatever we are manifesting, whatever we have manifested, even enriching the present modern day technology, right? Even the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism said that artificial intelligence, Hindus have the capability, the power to even enrich the artificial intelligence to serve humanity in a better possible way.
Yes.
Right? So it comes down to every field, literally all the dimensions of life. Hinduism have the power and the potential and the science of giving a breakthrough to each and every aspect of our life, each and every dimension of our being, inner world, outer world, everything. And if we just look back at our history and proper statistics, proper data, Hindu civilization, whatever manifested, the glory that manifested on the planet Earth when Hindu civilization was at its peak, right? we will simply just see the reality. We will see, just look at the truth.
And who else to do this other than the Guru himself, the Supreme Lord?
Yes, exactly. That's what I was coming to.
Okay.
Gurus only gurus are capable of really telling the Hindu grand narrative.
Yes.
That's what I was coming to say.
Yes.
Because only gurus know the insider. They are the insiders. Right?
Yes, yes.
They know how it really happens.
Yes,
How you build these
everybody
grand
wants to be a part of the insiders.
Exactly.
Everybody wants to know how he's able to, and that is there is a beautiful juiciness in the sessions itself. Everybody gets to know how Swamiji just in his bliss is able to just revive its whole tradition joyfully, and able to just in his state of pure bliss, able to bring people out of lifetimes of suffering and just give them a conscious breakthrough, which seems so effortless.
Yes.
For him, and it is so effortless for us, and you just understand why are we stuck in the rut of our past. We could have just seen how the Supreme Pontiff literally recreated or revived the whole Hinduism, and in doing that, we can actually see how the Mahaparamashivam's program is literally the global summit to create global Hindu leaders today. And we can even see ourselves as a possibility of being those Hindu leaders in whichever field you work in whichever way you work in. If you just adopt these Hindu components, have the Guru in your life, yes, have these Hindu teachings as a core in your life, you'll be able to see that whatever field you work in, when you have this super conscious backing, everything you do will be successful. You'll literally be functioning as a Hindu leader in the world.
Exactly. Talking about gurus, we have incarnation himself amongst us. Who better to look forward to? Who better to drop ourselves at the feet of, right, and surrender to? Because Paramashiva himself is literally knocking at our doors, yes, waiting for us to just answer to his call and just be a part of his life and make him a part of your life. That's all that needs to be done. Joining the Paramashiva program is the experience, the best thing that one can do to themselves and literally give a breakthrough, understand who you really are, cognize and experientially really understand the true Hindu identity, and then radiate it, just manifest it, enjoy it and manifest it all around you, right? For that, we would request you all to please scan the Mahaparamashivam's QR code that is being projected at the bottom of your screen and fill the intention form. The next season of Mahaparamashivam's program is starting on May 15th. And for anyone who would love to, who would like to attend this Mahaparamashivam's program, which is being taken personally by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashiva, we request them all to scan the QR code projected at the bottom of your screen and fill the intention form. Our team will reach out to you shortly.
Yes, Maharaj. And it is, we can become a part of this great Guru Sishya Parampara. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, as we've been saying in the last literal 1 month of celebrations in the Hindu calendar, there were so many festivals in the KAILASA Madurai, in the KAILASA of Tiruvannamalai. We can just see how he's literally maintaining each individual civilizational, like one part of Hinduism's Guru Parampara. The Guru Parampara, the spiritual kingdom that has a lineage of 292 pontiffs in Madurai and thousands of incarnations of Paramashiva in Tiruvannamalai. How these Sishya Parampara, Guru Sishya Paramparas are being upkept by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Literally, he is the essence of the whole of Hinduism, and really spearheading and literally taking Hindus who are there in the world, who are already there on top of the world, yes, how they can really take the world to the next level and really help make the change that is happening in this world order for a conscious breakthrough for all of humanity.
In fact, the ecosystem, the temple-based ecosystem is at the core of Hinduism. That is how when we were initially discussing, right, among all the 49 civilizations, only the Hindu civilization is existing right now. How did it happen? It was only because of these temple-based ecosystems which were continuously kept alive by the Hindu gurus. Only because of that this Sanatana Hindu Dharma has survived even today, even after so much of attacks and so much of atrocities which have been committed on Hindus in the last 2000 years. And now when the attacks on Hindus have literally reached the peak, the Paramashiva himself has now incarnated in the form of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashiva, to revive the whole of Sanatana Hindu Dharma on planet Earth, to revive each of these temple-based ecosystems that have been there from the eternity, established by Paramashiva himself, Paramashiva Shakti Devi herself. Together, they've established all these ecosystems in several places, reviving all of them, reigniting that flame of Dharma, literally, and radiating it, manifesting it in the people, initiating all the beings again into this sacred science, the super science of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, given in the Vedas and Agamas, which Paramashiva has revealed himself. This whole grand revival the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is doing through the creation of Kailasa nation, because that is exactly what is the need of the hour. With so many attacks, so much of interference, the work, the big mission that has to be done for all of this that we have been discussing today, even establishing the right strategic Hindu narrative, right?
Yes.
It needs a nation, it needs a Hindu nation, because just having religious or political freedom, actually religious or the social freedom itself, we are not getting, Hindus are not getting. On top of that, what is required to be done is having a complete political and legal freedom as well. No interference, no violence on Hindus, right?
Political and legal legitimacy.
Legitimacy and territorial freedom also. We need to have a proper sovereign land to do this great work that has to be done to revive the Sanatana Hindu Dharma, to revive the Hindu grand narrative and teach it to the future generation of Hindus. Only the Hindu children are the ones who will take this narrative forward, who will be initiated into this powerful Hindu identity and enrich the entire world with the gifts of Hinduism. So ultimately, it all boils down to this work happening in the first Hindu nation, the first nation for all Hindus, that is Kailasa, which is being created by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashiva, and supporting Kailasa in any form possible is basically giving support and investing in the future of Hindu children. Yes. Right? It is directly investing in their future, because it is only in them that the powerful Hindu identity will actually be revived. And it is getting revived right now by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The Nithyananda Gurukul, for example, right? Taking the kids and initiating them with all these powerful cognitions at a very young age, when they have impressionable minds, right? That is exactly when the rest of the humanity is forming those low cognitions, which we were discussing earlier, the powerless identities and everything. Instead of that, giving them the right cognitions, the right understanding, the right introduction, the actual real introduction of who they really are. They are Paramashiva. They are the inheritors of the cosmos itself. These understandings getting imbibed by the Hindu children at a very young age. And in fact, by anyone, it's open for all the beings. Hinduism is available to enrich the entire cosmos itself, to give them the right introduction of who they really are. That is the grandness of this work that is happening. And investing in Kailasa is literally investing in the future of Hindu children and developing and creating and establishing this Hindu grand narrative, which will impact the world order in turn in itself, right?
Yes, and again, we invite everyone to, you want to be a part of this grand revival, help join the building of this grand Hindu narrative, of building our Hindu history and the conversations that are going on, get to know more information. Scan the QR code and become an e-citizen of Kailasa. Get to know how you can be a part of this great revival of Hinduism. And if you are also interested in volunteering your time and treasure or your talents for this whole revival, scan the QR code also. There is available to you to be a volunteer here in Kailasa. Finally, again, we want to mention and invite everyone for the Mahaparamashivaham program. That is going to be starting in a few days on May 15th, and inviting all of us all of you to have the possibility of conscious breakthrough in your life and to be able to literally become that Hindu leader in the world today.
Yes.
So with this, we can today conclude today's NTV presentation. on Kailasa and the world order, and how Kailasa is literally at the head of literally helping the world have the conscious breakthrough with the divine grace and the blessings of our beloved leader, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashiva. And with his grace and blessings, we we can come to the conclusion of today's presentation with the Purna Mantra. Let us also get now prepared to see the satsang of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
So we will be leading now to the Nitya Satsang, the direct presidential address from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashiva. But before we lead to the satsang, let's prepare ourselves with the right space, the right frame of mind to receive the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashiva, in our own life. Having his darshan, listening to him itself is an initiation. It has the power to heal all our patterns, all our incompletions. Only thing that is required is the right space of receptivity that needs to be there inside us before we are preparing, when we are preparing for the darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So let us now sit with our head, neck, and spine in the straight line, carrying a deep sense of gratitude, the space of devotion in our Ananda Gandha. That is the space between our navel center and our heart center. Carry the visualization of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashiva, as Paramashiva himself, with 25 heads, 50 hands, and 75 eyes. And as we get ready to receive the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashiva, chant the Mahavakya, Om Nithyananda Paramashiva, reverberating in our entire being. Let's start chanting the Mahavakya and get ready for the satsang from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashiva. Om Nithyananda
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Nityanandeshwara Paramashiva Samarambam Nityanandeshwari Paramashiva Shakti Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. I welcome you all with my love and respects and blessing. I welcome all the devotees, disciples, Samajis, Satsangis, Srimahans, Mahans, Tanedar, Kotari, visitors, viewers, everyone sitting with us all over the world. I welcome all of you with my love and respects and blessings. Paramashiva's message directly from KAILASA. Reason out, season out, hang out, chill out with the highest truth of Paramashivatva. I'll repeat. Reason out, season out, hang out, chill out with highest truths of Paramashivatva. Understand? Truths of Paramashivatva. All the constitutional rights given to each soul by the cosmos is the highest truths of Paramashivatva. See, like each country guarantees some rights by their constitution to their citizens, cosmos guarantees certain rights to all the beings, especially to human beings. So understand, the first right, I call it as the first amendment. The first right cosmos gives you is to think, feel, experience, and live as Paramashiva, and to be treated by everyone around you, everything around you as Paramashiva. Listen, not only you have the right to think, feel, exist, experience, live as Paramashiva, you have the right, everything around you, not only human beings, even the nature around you, should treat you as a Paramashiva, and you have a right. Please understand, these are the fundamental rights guaranteed by the cosmic constitution to every being, especially to human beings, because the human beings are hardwired for these greatest truths. Reason out. When I say reason out, I mean continuously using your logic, rationality. See, power to rationalize, ability to logically analyze, ability to internalize, the power of Sankhya, the right reasoning, the right way of reasoning is the unique gift given to all human beings. Understand? Just like two hands, two eyes, two ears, Paramashiva has given us a unique power called ability to rationalize, ability to logically come to a conclusion. And please understand, your ability to rationalize and ability to come to a logical conclusion is nowhere related to your so-called degrees, universities, education. No. Ability to logically come to conclusion, ability to rationalize comes through involvement. It is simple involvement. Please understand. If you develop the ability to rationalize, logically come to conclusion, reason out through involvement, that becomes a powerful tool for your pratyaksha pramana. In Hindu tradition, there are various pramanas, the various levels of developing your being for enlightenment. In Shat Darshanas, various pramanas are described. Understand? Purvamimamsa by Jaimini, Uttaramimamsa by Vyasa, Nyaya by Gautama, Vaiseshika by Ganata, Padanjala by Yoga Sutras by Patanjali. The various darshanas, it's actually 6. Nyaya, Vaiseshika, Yoga, Sankhya, Uttaramimamsa, Purvamimamsa. Purvamimamsa is by Jaimini. Jaimini is the father of Purvamimamsa Tattva, and Vyasa is the father of Uttaramimamsa Tattva, and Kapila is the father of the Sankhya Tattva, Gautama is the father of Nyaya Tattva, Patanjali is the father of Yoga Tattva, and Ganada is the father of Vaiseshika Tattva. This Shat Darshana Tattvas, please understand, each of these darshanas, each of these darshanas is centered on certain kind of reasoning out. The right reasoning the Sat Darshanas and the Tattva, the thought current, the methodology of reasoning out described in the Sat Darshanas. I was explaining about it. Sankhya by Kapila, Yoga by Patanjali, Nyaya by Gautama, Vaiseshika by Ganata, Purvamimamsa by Jaimini, Uttaramimamsa by Vyasa. This Sat Darshanas teaches a very powerful method, way of thinking, logical reasoning. I tell you, developing logical reasoning is very good to keep your life excited. I tell you, if you use your reasoning ability, your reasoning ability as a corrupt, bad, cheap negotiation strategy with life and others, you will constantly feel suffocated, deprived, cheated. Listen, if you use your ability to reason out, your ability to logically come to a conclusion with tremendous violence, anger, just to fight with others, cheap, corrupt strategy to negotiate with life and others, you will feel suffocated, deprived, cheated, frustrated forever. Listen. Ability to reason out is the instrument, tool. In Sanskrit, we use the word antakarana. Buddhi is gifted to you by Paramashiva. First, develop that reasoning ability and reason out the great truth. You are Paramashiva. Listen. If you reason out you are Paramashiva, it's a conscious process. You can't just say, oh, I believe I am Paramashiva, so let me immediately manifest it. Understand? Your belief will become solidified cognition if you start reasoning out. Reasoning out with a fair reasoning out. I am not even saying you should look at the whole life with the eyes of the fairy tale, with the la la land, with the idea of the oasis. No, I am not even giving you some impossible, impractical cognitions. No. Reason out reasonably. Do not use your ability to reason constantly to negotiate with others and life. Don't use your logic, your ability to reason out in a cheap, cunning strategy method, a strategizing tool to negotiate with life, with others, with the world. A small story. My friend and his wife stayed in a hotel, got a bill for $90. He screamed, for what? $90. The desk clerk said, for room and board, sir. My friend said, room and board? We did not eat here. The clerk said, it was here for you. If you did not get it, it's your fault. If you did not eat it, it's your fault. My friend said, you take $40 and I am charging you $50 for fooling around with my wife. The clerk said, I never touched your wife. I have not even spoken to your wife. My friend said, it was there for you. If you did not take it, it's your fault. Understand? Do not use your ability to reason out as a cheap strategy for negotiation or a tool to negotiate in a cheap way. Please listen. Some of the Nitya Satsangis who attend regularly satsangs may be wondering after a long time a small story from Swamiji. Listen. Actually, in Savikalpa Samadhi, I was seeing the Kailasa visually. See, in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, there is no two. There is no seen and the seer. It's all one, pure consciousness. But in the next, the Savikalpa Samadhi, the vision is seen. Inside me only, a part of me is Paramashiva, part of me is Ganapati, part of me is Paramashiva Shakti, part of me is Subramanya, part of me is Kailasa. Like a inside me, the whole thing is seen. In Savikalpa Samadhi, I was seeing Paramashiva was giving the great truths, the teachings. Suddenly, he said something. I still can see what he said, but I'm not able to map it to human language. Something like one Chana, he uttered something. The whole Kailasa was laughing. Paramashiva was laughing and Devi was laughing. Everyone was laughing. Whole Kailasa was laughing, roaring and laughing. And I saw, this is the way exactly my laughing temple used to be. When I started giving my satsangs and classes in Adi Kailasa. And of course, I know it's again going to restart in this upgraded new beginning. I have lots of stories for you guys. Now, listen. If you see, you can see very clearly how your ability to reason out is being used by you violently. How you add so much violence to it. It is like if you get a knife in your hand and if you have a violence inside and knife in your hand, how you will act. Same way you can see your ability to reason out is being used by you with so much violence. Listen, all frustration, all feeling suffocated, all feeling exploited, is nothing but you using your ability to reason out with violence. That is why I insist not having violence inside you. If you have violence inside you and expect others to suffer, you are a fool. You drink poison and expect your enemy to die. No, it is not going to happen. I tell you, bring absolute peace. You cannot immediately bring love, compassion, all that. First, you can only bring peace inside you. Bring peace, shanti. You will see your ability to reason out, your ability to come to logical conclusion will be used by you properly. Listen. Knife in the hands of a compassionate doctor can save a person. The same knife in the hands of a violent fellow can kill others, can even kill himself when he is too frustrated by killing too many people. Finally, he kills himself. The ability to reason out, that ability is sacred because every day you go on reasoning out about yourself, about your life, about your past, about your future. You are constantly in the process of reasoning out. That reasoning out is one of the powerful tools. Whether you want it or not, just like your breathing, reasoning out is part of your being, the core being. Reasoning out is verily part of you, just like your breathing. Manomaya kosa, constant reasoning out is verily part of you, like pranamaya kosa, constantly breathing. Just like breathing is part of you, and reasoning out, logically coming to conclusions is verily part of you. All I am trying to tell you is, I am not asking you to approach life with so-called positivity, love, compassion. I tell you, love, compassion, positivity, everything cannot be generated. Only peace can be generated. Only peace can be achieved. From peace, all this manifests. From peace, in your inner peace, shanti, paramashantatva, love, compassion, everything starts manifesting. Whether prayer or meditation, love, compassion, even powerful cognition. It all manifests from your Shantatva, Paramashantatva. Work on Paramashantatva. Listen again and again. I am repeating. You trying to build love. You may build a loving character, but love itself can't be built. You can build kind of a skin deep love. If you are not peaceful inside, your love will not be permanent. So first things first. First things first. First thing you can achieve for real is peace. Work for your peace by unclutching. Unclutching is the most sublime, subtle, powerful way of reasoning out. Most powerful, subtle way of coming to logical conclusions is unclutching. I tell you, in the beginning, unclutching may look like you are pushing your whole reasoning away. But when you start tasting the unclutching, you will understand unclutching gives you the most powerful, reasonable reasoning. Listen, in unclutching, the steam of violence inside you is released. Tremendous peace is brought inside you. The Paramashantatva, peace. In that peace only you will see your logical ability to come to conclusion, your ability to come to logical conclusions, your power to reason out is separate from you, and you can handle that process reasonably, logically, be logically logical, reasonably reasoning it out. Reason out reasonably. Be logically logical. Unfortunately, you are always trying to use your ability to reason out, to your ability to logically come to conclusion, to negotiate with life, to bargain with life. You think only by hard negotiation you will get best out of life, and you suffocate others and you, and literally destroy the life. I tell you, life happens to you by the depth of the peace inside you, and from the peace, the love which grows. From that peace, meditation which grows. From that peace, consciousness which grows. From that peace, compassion which grows. From that peace, the bliss which grows. That is the productivity of your life. Continuously reason out how you are the ultimate Paramashiva and how you strangle yourself with your ability to reason out. with your ability to come to a logical conclusions, see, your ability to come to a logical conclusion, if you start using it violently towards others, you will start using the same thing violently towards you. And you will be constantly unhappy with yourself and unhappy with others. Frustrated with yourself and frustrated with others. It is too simple. Just remember the story I told just now. The desk clerk asked money for the breakfast, the food you did not eat. Then immediately you try to ask the money from him for the acts he did not do. Listen, it may be like a joke, but look in how many times you are playing this crucial, I should say that, this cruel joke in many crucial moments of your life with you and with others. Just sit and pen down 5 moments. Listen, today try to do this. Just 5 moments when you played this cruel joke during the crucial moments of your life with yourself and with others. I'll tell you a very simple way how my reasoning out functions in a very simple way. I'll give you one simple example. When I am unclutched and sitting in samadhi, sometimes with the eyes open, my disciples come and present various situations and issues where I need to make decisions. During very critical moments, crucial moments, or emergency situations, they ask me, Swamiji, don't you ever feel insecure about the future and how things are going to happen, how things are going to be? Don't you feel insecure ever? I tell you, listen carefully. I am giving you exactly as I reason out. The very way I reason out, I am presenting it to you. Listen carefully. See, in cinema, there are various ways of storytelling, like starting with a simple introduction, then slowly taking it to the intense part of the story, then finally climax. Or first opening the climax, then explaining the climax through flashback, justifying the climax through flashback. So all of you understand how I look at my life, If you write my life, the first line, first statement is born in Arunachala, Tiruvannamalai. Hey, climax is over. That line is the climax. Over. Now I have to win. My life has to be victorious. Nothing else can happen. Nothing else can be done. Everything else happening after that first line is flashback justifying it. It is like you pick up a thriller novel, you finish reading the climax, the last 2 pages, then read the novel from the first page, you know what is the climax and you will not have insecurity, fear. Because whether when you read the thriller novel or a movie, when you watch a movie, you travel with hero, you identify yourself with the hero and you travel with hero. The insecurity hero goes through, you also go through. But if you know the climax, if you know the end of the thriller movie or a thriller novel, if you know the climax, you will not have the insecurity. You will just go through the movie and enjoy frame by frame the work involved in that movie. You will enjoy that. So be very clear. The first line of my biography, born in Arunachala, Tiruvannamalai, over, climax is done. After that, everything is told, everything done, everything shown, everything is just a flashback. After that one line, is born in Tiruvannamalai. அதுக்கப்புறம் என்னடா சொல்லுவீங்க என்னை பத்தி? என்ன சொன்னாலும் அது flashback தான்டா. Say in any field, for people to measure them, for example, if a politician, political leader, how you will measure him? How many times he was prime minister or chief minister or a president? He was in power. And what is his vote bank? Same way, in cine field celebrity, you will measure based on how many movies he acted, how many super hits, blockbuster super hits he gave, how many national awards, international awards he got. That's why you will measure them. In spiritual field, to gauge somebody, to measure somebody, the fundamental requirements are powerful Guru Parampara. Guru Parampara, unbroken lineage of enlightened beings. First. Second, a powerful spiritual ecosystem which groomed him. Third, when he manifested all the great truths given to him by Guru Parampara and the ecosystem as his own experience. Fourth, how he manifests the multi-dimensions and powers of that enlightenment. All these four, peak of all these four which I uttered now, powerful enlightened master's lineage, powerful ecosystem, ability to make the person manifest the enlightenment as his own experience, and ability to make that person manifest multi-dimensions of enlightenment. In all four, Arunachala is the peak and highest possible available brand. So when you say the first word, Tiruvannamalai Pirandar, born in Arunachala, Tiruvannamalai, over. Climax is done. Climax is over. Now it is no more a thriller movie or thriller novel. Now it is all flashback justifying the climax. Flashback justifying the climax. So I know for sure I have to win. I know for sure I will be successful. I know for sure I have to do the work Paramashiva gave me. Understand. The logic, the way I reason out my existence consciously, I opened it up. Don't try to tell it is positive thinking. No. I just know a simple, reasonable way of reasoning out the ultimate truths. You may try to give a different name, confidence, bhakti, is trust on Arunachala, all whatever names you want to give, whatever brandings you want to do. I tell you, even if you reasonably reason out, stop hurting yourself with the self-doubt, self-denial, self-hatred. If you use your reasoning with a self-doubt, hurt yourself constantly, then self-doubt will become self-denial. And the self-denial will naturally lead to self-hatred. Self-doubt will lead to self-hatred and self-denial both simultaneously. So understand, reasoning out reasonably will make you naturally peaceful, blissful, loving, caring, compassionate, absolutely life positive without even you thinking you are life positive. See, if you think you are beautiful, your beauty is ugly. Over. If you don't even think you are beautiful, others think you are beautiful. That is the most beautiful thing. You should not think you are beautiful. Others should think you are beautiful. Same way, people who live around you should think you are life positive. You should not even think you are life positive. That is the real life positivity. People around you should feel, oh God, I know him for so many years. What kind of a stamina and life positivity he is carrying? This happens when you start logically logical, reasonably reasoning out. Listen, we all know the meaning of the words uttered. But when we pick up fight, how we twist, listen carefully. This is for all the Kailasavasis and everyone. Just sit with yourself and see how you twist the words during the interaction with the life. One more story. I have one more story. Miss D'Angelo was a none too bright girl. Listen, you should enjoy every line of the story. Miss D'Angelo was a none too bright girl who had moved to Hollywood with the dreams of becoming a star. She did not find fame or glory, but she did encounter plenty of men willing to enjoy her plentiful charms, and eventually she found herself named in a divorce case. When it was her turn on the stand, the prosecutor came forward. Miss D'Angelo, the wife of the defendant. Listen, Miss D'Angelo, the wife of the defendant, has identified you as the other woman in her husband's life. Now, do you admit that you went to the Price Right motel with this Mr. Evans? Well, yes, acknowledged Miss D'Angelo with a sniff, but I could not help it. Could not help it? Asked the lawyer derisively. How is that? She replied, Mr. Evans deceived me. Lawyer asked, exactly what do you mean? She replies, see, when we signed in, he told the motel clerk, I was his wife. Listen, you all know how the words are used and what they mean in every situation. D'Angelo knows. When Mr. Evans tells the motel clerk, she was his wife, what he means and what is the meaning. Can that word stand in the court of law as the wife? No. And she knows Evans does not mean what he says. Many times, knowing with your reasoning logic, this is not going to be the case the way people present things in front of you. You jump into the action due to your stress. Listen. Now I am giving you one of the very powerful cognition. Many time in the life, keeping quiet is the powerful strategy. Powerful Brahmastra. Because many time, you can't keep quiet. You can't silence your restlessness to be productive or the squeeze the juice, maximum juice out of life. See, this one life theory makes man mad. He has to squeeze maximum out of life this 100 years. So what he does? He programs himself, go on to do. Many times, because you can't keep quiet, you do something and end up in a mess. To repair that mess, you may have to spend some time, years, or even life. Many times, just because you can't keep quiet, your restlessness inside, either the violence, wrong logic of feeling exploited, or the wrong logic you have to squeeze the life and take the maximum juice out of life. You do actions, you take decisions actually to be maximum productive. You do things in your agitation, but you land up in making mess, different chaos. You create so much of mess in your life. To clean up that mess, you may be spending 5 years, 10 years. Sometimes in those moments, if you kill somebody, you literally pay your whole life to repair it. I tell you, I can give you one assurance. If you learn to keep quiet when you need to keep quiet, see, in some of the business deals, some home or a mall, when a owner sells, he says, if you are the buyer, if the buyer is going to sell after a few years, first right should be given to the same guy. He will say that right to the first right to buy. You should first ask me. If I say I am not able to buy, I don't want, then you can give it to others. Same way, during your decision making process, always keep the unclutching or keeping quiet as the first option. During every agitated moment, every depressed moment, every painful moment, every moment of suffering, keep this as a first option. What is that? Keeping quiet, silence. Keep that as a first option. I tell you, many times, keeping quiet or patience is best productive strategy during wars, crisis, and many situations in your life. Only if you feel the keeping quiet is not going to work and you really need to do something, do. Otherwise, keep keeping quiet as the first option. I tell you, most of the time, just because you can't keep quiet, your inner restlessness, wrong reasoning out, pushes you to do something. You do something and end up spending years or your whole life cleaning up that mess. Cleaning up for that mess. Reason out that you are Paramashiva. next truth. Season out with the truth you are Paramashiva. Season out means even when you go through ups and downs, success and failures, good and bad, right and wrong, even when you consider your life is becoming mess, continuously you are collapsing and life is falling apart, even during those seasons, hold on to the truth you are Paramashiva and look from that powerful cognition you are Paramashiva and operate. Listen, in the West, 4 seasons. In Hindu tradition, it is always 6 seasons. Shat Rutu, we call it 6 seasons. All Shat Rutus, all 6 seasons. Sit yourself with the powerful cognition you are Paramashiva and go on operating from that. Please understand, in Hindu tradition, when you manifest Archavatara means making a stone idol into God. When that process is done, it's a very beautiful process. The Acharya who does Prana Pratishta, he will initiate the deity with the Bija mantra of the deity. For example, if it is a Shivalinga, that Bija mantra, Om Om Shivaya Namaha, there's a Bija mantra. He will initiate the deity into the Bija mantra and leave the deity in the open air for all 6 seasons. The deity has to be with the Bija mantra sitting all 6 seasons. After all the 6 seasons in the open air, if there is no crack in the deity, it is ready for the next Prana Pratishta process. Seasoning out. Even the stone is seasoned out with the great truth to become God. Same way for you. If you sit with the truth and season out yourself, you will become Nijavatara. This is the science of God making. Listen, Hinduism has this unique tradition of science of God making, making the God enter into a deity as Archavatara or enter into a human being as Nijavatara. Not even human being, it can enter even into any being. So understand, sit with this truth. You are Paramashiva for all 6 seasons, Shat Rutus. That is what I call seasoning out. When I say Shat Rutus, all 6 seasons, not just summer, winter, I mean inner seasons. Peak joy, worst suffering. In all various moods, season out yourself with this truth. Listen. In one frequency, what you feel as peace becomes good in the next frequency. Actually, from peace only all auspiciousness starts. That's why all Vedas, after they utter the ultimate sound Om, the next word they utter is Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All Veda mantras conclude with this Shanti, begin with this Shanti, because from peace only all the auspicious things can grow. From peace, the peace in the next level frequency becomes feel good feeling. Then next level frequency, it becomes pleasant. Then next level frequency, it becomes joy. Then next level frequency, it becomes ecstasy. Then next level frequency, it becomes bliss. Then next level frequency, it becomes eternal bliss. Whether this season of goodness or the seasons of bad. I think bad I don't need to explain much. All of you know. Only good I need to explain so much. In all seasons, decide to stick to Paramashivatva. Operate from that. Reason out, season out, the truths of Paramashivatva. During all the inner seasons, stick to the truth or truths of Paramashivatva. All the constitutional rights given to you, the First Amendment of the Cosmic Constitution, reason out those truths of Paramashivatva and season out with those truths of Paramashivatva. Listen, I gave you one example, how I look at my life. The first line itself is a climax. After that, everything told is only a flashback, justification for that climax. And I tell you, all of you, when you use reasonably reasoning way, reasonable reasoning out, logically logical, when you start being open, simple, straightforward, with your life, you will all find the simple flow of your life and you will know the climax. Nothing to be stressed, nothing to shake you, nothing to make you collapse or nothing to make you move away from your conscious existence. In Tamil, there is a beautiful statement. Tannilai தாழாமையும் தாழ்ந்தக்கால் உயிர் வாழாமையும் மானம் எனப்படும். Means not losing out of your consciousness, your first person's integrity. Your first person's integrity. Let me repeat. Means knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you are, and standing with it. is life. Understand? Reasoning out and seasoning out with the powerful truths of Paramashivatva. Next is hang out and chill out with Paramashivatva, the highest truths of life. See, Ma Nitya Mahaguhambananda is messaging. I'll read out her message. Ma Nitya Mahaguhambananda in YouTube. She is messaging. Swamiji, I saw you healing me during MRI scan. Doctor asked me to get MRI done. He was worried for me going through a surgery. He now says, I will not need any surgery in this life. Listen, this is our message, Guhambananda's message. And the truth I am going to explain, hanging out with the higher truths. It has a connection. Listen. Mahaguhambananda, she has certain feeling connection, devotion, Guru Bhakti. Even when doctor says she need MRI scan, even when she is going through the MRI scan, she was hanging out with me, not with her insecurities and fears. That is what I call build Guru Bhakti when you can. It will be useful when you can't. Build Guru Bhakti when you can. It will be useful when you can't. Build feeling connection when you can. It will be useful for you when you can't. Mahaguhambananda, she built it when she can. So it is now useful for her when she can't. Hanging out means making the undercurrent of your life as this Paramashivatva, higher principles. See, I can give you some 10 higher principles. You are Paramashiva. Even when you don't remember it, you are Paramashiva. And this idea of karma, what you do comes back to you. What you do comes back to you. If you don't remember yourself as Paramashiva, if you remember yourself as Paramashiva, what you did when you are not remembering you as a Paramashiva will not come back to you. Listen. This is what karma mukti. I am not defining karma to bind you. I am defining karma to liberate you. Please understand. All my definitions, still now, I have defined at least 10,000 key powerful truths of Hinduism, like God, Vedanta, Veda, knowledge, Vidya, Vairagya, renunciation, Shanta, Mangala, at least 10,000. Every definition is focused on liberating you, giving you solution, the definition itself, with the focus of liberating you. So I am defining karma. Listen. Ordinary definition, all of you know about karma is what you do comes back to you. But I tell you, what you do comes back to you only if you remain in that same mood or consciousness. Many times there is a sketch used, like a card, one person will be sitting and he drops the card and it goes round and comes and falls on him. You all may be understanding what I am saying. If you just push one card and it goes round and comes back and last card falls on you. You understand karma in this way only. I tell you, all your actions will come back to you only if you remain in that same consciousness. If you raise your consciousness, it will not come back to you. You can say, hey, now I am Paramashiva. You can't come back to me. When this was committed, I was ordinary person, ordinary man. Now I am Paramashiva, so you can't come back to me. That is why the initiation into the higher truth, when you start reasoning out and seasoning out with the higher truths, you are called Dvija, reborn, newborn. Understand the second truth about life, karma. No karma affects you if you raise your consciousness. The action done in certain consciousness, inner space, only that inner space suffers the reaction. If that inner space is evolved, the reactions don't come to you. The reactions don't come to you. Reason out this great truth. Season out with this great truth. Listen. This is the fundamental of the KAILASA jurisprudence. I don't know how many of you know. In Manusmriti, if somebody commits a crime, like a murder or stealing, and if he takes sannyas, he can't be punished. That's Dharma Shastra. If he takes sannyas and lives the sannyas space, he can't be punished. I am making this as a law in KAILASA. Because KAILASA is functioning as per constitution of the cosmos. Listen carefully. Dharma Shastras are constitution of the cosmos. It's a jurisprudence of the cosmos. Everything I am saying, everything I am asking you to do is nothing but introducing the KAILASA culture to you even while you are in planet Earth. So when you go to KAILASA, you will not have a cultural shock. So many people asked me, when I went to US, first time when I went to US, I think I was 25. 2003, I went to US first time. And I'm born in 78. 78 to 2003. So 25. People asked me, Swamiji, don't you feel the cultural shock? You are born and brought up in a village and you are here suddenly in a different country, different kind of people, meeting them, giving them classes, solutions, lessons on enlightenment. Don't you feel the cultural shock? I said, no, because in the young age itself, my gurus have trained me, making me meet the Westerners, foreigners who come to Tiruvannamalai. Because I have seen enough of people from all over the world who come to Tiruvannamalai for enlightenment, I don't feel any cultural shock. I did not have a cultural shock when I started traveling all over the world. Same way, I am training you for the Kailasa lifestyle, constitution of Kailasa, jurisprudence of Kailasa, lifestyle of Kailasa. So when you go there, you will not have cultural shock. You know the traffic rules of Kailasa. Listen, karma as per the cosmos is the inner space which committed the karma gets the karma back. If you have changed, evolved with a higher inner space, you will not have that karma. You will not have that suffering. This great truth, reason it out, season it out, you will really see how whatever you may go through in your life, the cosmic constitution still holds good anywhere you may live. If you reason out and season out with this great truth, you can understand. If you reason out and season out with this truth, you can see clearly. Whenever you raise your consciousness, the effects of your old karma does not touch you, doesn't impact you. I have a sketch to show you. Just see it. This is the way you understand karma normally. But actually, after pushing the first board, if you walk out, if you get out, it will not fall on you. That's all. If you continue to sit there, then it will fall on you. All of you understand what I am saying? Usually, this is the picture shown to you to explain karma. What goes comes around. If you are stupidly sitting and shitting in that same place with the same inner space, if you have a simple intelligence, shift your cognition. Start reasoning out and seasoning out and hanging out and chilling out with the higher truths. You will not get the karma back to you. You will not get the results of the action done by you. So understand this. This is the usual picture given to all of you to understand about the karma. If you sit after pushing the first board or the first brick, if you continue to sit and shit in the same place, the last brick will fall on you. But if you shift your inner space, the last brick will not fall on you. What goes comes around. But if you are not sitting in that round, It will not come back to you. It will not come back to you. These powerful truths, reason out with it, season out with it, hang out with it, chill out with it. You will manifest Paramashivatva. First thing, understand the initiation into Paramashivatva. When you start reasoning out and seasoning out, the first thing will happen is all your karmas will stop touching you, harassing you. See, when you start the pranayama, the first change will happen in your body is your body will become colorful. Like eyes will become more dark. The white part of the eyes will become more white. The lips will become more rosy. The nails will become more shining. All the body parts will become more colorful. The natural color will get intensified. Same way, when you start reasoning out and seasoning out with the Paramashivatva, higher truths, the first effect will be all your past karmas will stop affecting you. The effect of your past karma will drastically reduce on you. Suddenly your health will become wonderful. Your inner space, your wealth, your relationships, everything. The past karmas will lose its power over you. Listen. Listen intensely and contemplate. I'll continue to give the satsang in just few minutes. It is just whole system is getting into samadhi. I'll settle and then start again. Just give me few minutes break. Stay tuned. Om. Listen. Sorry for the spiritual glitch. I can't call it technical glitch. And actually, spirituality is not a glitch. It's like a. So, sorry for the glitch. Listen. Today I was explaining first about what is reasoning out, seasoning out, hanging out, chilling out with Paramashivatva truths. Paramashivatva truths I am explaining. First, you are Paramashiva. Second, you have a right to feel, exist, think, experience, live as Paramashiva. Third, you have a right to be treated as Paramashiva by others and life. Fourth, this karma theory. Listen, this karma. The results of your karma will come back to you Only if you continue to stay in the same inner space with which you performed that karma. If you raise your inner space, the effects of the karma you performed while you were in the lower space does not come to you. It's a truth. Reason out, season out, hang out, chill out with this truth, you will understand. That is why Manuvadi Dharmashastras, from Manu, all Dharmashastras does not punish when someone becomes a sannyasi for the karmas he committed in his pre-sannyas, pre-monastic life. For example, Valmiki. I don't know how many number of murders Valmiki committed. But he did not go to hell or he did not suffer. Once he raised his consciousness with the initiation of Narada, his whole karma did not come back to him. Arunagirinathar. He was not only womanizer and he has done everything possible. Nothing came to him after he got initiated by Subramanya. All the karmas did not come back to him when he was initiated by Subramanya, when his inner space changed. I can give you the huge list. Next thing, listen. When you start reasoning out and seasoning out and hanging out with the Paramashivatva truths, extraordinary confidence about life, exorbitant positivity, love for life will manifest. From that love for life only, you become non-violent. You understand the value of life. So listen. Understanding the value of life makes you fulfilled, successful in anything you do. Whether you are a doctor, engineer, politician, leader, spiritual seeker, anything. If you understand value of life, you are fulfilled. Listen. Understanding the value of life makes you conscious about your existence. So I'll continue in further satsangs. Now, the homework for today, watch this satsang again, at least 2 times, and sit and pen down, reason out every truth I revealed with the right way of reasoning. With the right way of reasoning. Understand? Come to conclusions with the right way of reasoning. I have one more story to tell you all. Small story. A foreigner in Europe start speaking to neighbor. I tell you, sir, this country is great country, and I praise God that I came to this country. I am living in Europe. The foreigner was expounding to a new acquaintance. Where else, I ask you, could it happen that you could do a hard day's work, then find yourself outside the gates, standing in the rain, waiting for the bus? The guy intruded, was listening. He said, "You call that great?" Man said, but wait now. A big black limousine pulls up, and the boss opens the back door and says, "It's a hell of a night to be out in the rain. Why don't you come in here and warm up?" And when you are inside, he says, "That coat is awfully wet. Let me buy you a new one." All right. And after he has bought you a coat, he asks where you live and says, "That's a long drive on a night like this. Why not come to my house?" So he takes you to his big mansion and gives you a big meal and a few drinks and a warm bed for the night and a hot breakfast and ride back to the work. I tell you, this is the great country. It would never happen to me in any other country. The guy asks, "And it happened to you here?" The acquaintance asked skeptically. This fellow says, "No, but it happened to my sister." Think through. Even if you miss the joke, don't miss the laughter. And if you miss the joke now, listen to the satsang again. Maybe in the late night or tomorrow morning. When you get your ride back, you will get the joke. And come back for the next satsang. I'll give you more powerful cognitions and truths. So with this, I bless you all. Let's all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Shuddhatvaita Saivam. The state, space, powers, being, superconsciousness, and Kailasa of Paramashiva. Om Paramashivoham Nithyananda Paramashivoham Maha Kailasa of Paramashiva. Paramashivoham Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. The eternal bliss Nithyananda. Thank you. Be blissful.